बाय द सिस्टम। हम तो कुछ नहीं करते, एरर आता है तो हम कुछ करते हैं। अगर कंपाइल टाइम एरर है तो हमें सॉल्व करना पड़ता है, पर रन टाइम एरर में इज इट एनीथिंग इन आवर हैंड? आपने इनफाइनाइट लूप लिखा, आपके हाथ में कुछ भी है? इट्स टाइप ऑफ एन एरर ओनली ना, इनफाइनाइटली इट्स मूविंग ऑन। या तो आपने कोई एरे का एलिमेंट एक्सेस करने का ट्राई किया जो आपके इंडेक्स के बाहर जा रहा है। माय एरे साइज इज 5 एंड आई एम ट्राइंग टू एक्सेस 10th एलिमेंट, इज इट पॉसिबल? No, but will it give me any compile time error? If I write array of 10, it will not give me any compile time error. Syntactically, it is correct. So error will come while the execution of a program. So basically, suppose I have a main method. From this main method, I am calling function 1. From this function 1, I am calling function 2. And in this function, we are calling function 3. Suppose an error occurred in the function 3. So it will try to handle that error in function 3. But if it can't handle, it will move to function 2. If here also it is not handled, it will move to function 1. Here if it is not handled, then it will move to main function, and if main has also not handled it, then it will show us an error message. तब जाके वो आपको error message दिखाता है. So when we are calling a method from another method and so on, when the error occurs, it is trying to be handled in the same function. If it can't, then it will move to the function from which it was called. If it cannot handle, then it will move to one level up. In Java also, your runtime environment try to handle your runtime exceptions. In Java, we call our errors as exception. But Java provide you a facility that you can manage the exceptions. आप खुद अपने आपको लगता है कि ये एक्सेप्शन होने के चांसेस है, then you can manage that exception so that it doesn't give you a system error message, but it give you a meaningful error message. You are giving a meaningful error message and completing your program normally instead of abnormal termination of a program. So in Java, it provides you a facility that you can manage the exceptions. Now, if your program is managing the exception, wherever you are managing the exception, you need to write that function 2 will be handling the exception. It's called handling exception. Wherever the error occurs, we say that exception is thrown. It's known as throwing exception. यहाँ पे भी error occur करता है, that function is throwing the exception. The same function might be handling it also, but suppose function 3 is just throwing an exception, but it is not managing it. Then it will move to the previous function, that is function 2. It will check, is it managing the exception? If it is managing or handling that exception, your work will be done. Then it will move to function 1 and main. But if function 2 is not managing, it will move to function 1 to check whether the exception is managed or not. Okay. Are you getting my point? Managing means handling that exception. We will be writing some printf, println statements to manage, to give proper message, to understand what type of exception has occurred. Are you getting it? How it moves from which function to which function? Yes or no?
Yes.
Exception will be managed over here. It will not move further for checking it. यहीं पे वो उसे manage कर लेगा. काम वही खत्म हो जाएगा. Okay? Clear with what is exception? Yes or no?
Yes.
Exceptions means errors. Now, if you want to manage the exceptions, you need to write your code where there are chances of error occurrence in a try statement. ट्राई ब्लॉक के अंदर आपको स्टेटमेंट्स लिखने पड़ेंगे जिसमें एरर के चांसेस है. जहां पे भी you feel that there are the chances that error might occur in this statements, you need to put that statement in a try block. One try block can catch multiple exceptions. There are different exception classes to manage that exceptions. So one try block can have multiple catch statements. Different exception classes are there for different type of exceptions. And there is one more which is known as finally. This is not final, this is finally. Final statement क्यों use करते हैं? Why we use final statement? जल्दी बताओ, why we use final statement? Does not change the value, correct? So, but here finally doesn't mean that we are not changing the value. Here finally means that the classes which we are writing, if your exception doesn't belong to any of the catch, then that finally will be executed. Finally block is such a block which will be executed even a exception doesn't occur. एक्सेप्शन हैंडल हो जाता है तो भी एग्जीक्यूट होगा, हैंडल नहीं होता है तो भी एग्जीक्यूट होगा. So finally is such a block which will be executed every time. Okay. Now to understand the exceptions, first we need to understand different types of exceptions in Java. Just a minute, I want to show you, so I am presenting it. I want to show you one diagram, just a minute. क्लासरूम में हो नहीं, ब्लैक बोर्ड है नहीं, चलो जस्ट अ मिनट. Now see here, can you see this diagram?
Yes.
Now there is a class in Java which is known as exception to manage all the exception. Exception means any error which doesn't allow your program to complete normally. That is known as a exception. Now in Java, basically there are two types of exception. One is known as the checked exception and runtime exception or unchecked exception. Checked exceptions are your compile time exceptions, which are checked by your Java virtual machine or your Java compiler. And when you resolve it, then only it will execute the program. Runtime exceptions or unchecked exceptions are the exceptions which occur when your program is being executed. The examples, or you can say the exception class has many subclasses, which is input output exception, class not found exception. Suppose you you try to create an object of a class which class you have never defined. सपोज मैं डेमो डी इक्वल टू न्यू डेमो लिखती हूँ, पर डेमो नाम का मैंने कोई क्लास ही नहीं बनाया है, तो will it show me an error or not? If I am writing demo d equal to new demo, ठीक है? See here. Suppose I am writing this demo d equal to new demo. So I'm creating a object of class demo, but suppose I have not created demo class. तो क्या होगा जब मैं ये प्रोग्राम रन करूँ तो? अगर डेमो नाम का क्लास है ही नहीं तो क्या होगा?
फाइल एक्सेस ही नहीं होगी।
एरर
Somebody else said something. क्या बोला?
एरर देगा।
एरर के अलावा और किसी ने कुछ बोला ना?
फाइल एक्सेस ही नहीं होगी।
फाइल एक्सेस नहीं होगी। कौन सी फाइल? मैं सिर्फ एग्जाम्पल दे रही हूँ, मैं बाकी सब तो लिखूंगी नहीं. आई एम सेइंग दैट सपोज योर प्रोग्राम इज हैविंग द स्टेटमेंट और डेमो नाम का कोई क्लास ही नहीं है, तो जब कंपाइल होगा प्रोग्राम, अगर हम कोई ऐसा वेरिएबल यूज करने का ट्राई करते जो हमने डिफाइन ही नहीं किया है, तो व्हाट इट डू, इट शोज यू एन error. Same way here it will show you that it is not able to find any class with the name demo. So that is also one type of exception, but this is your compile time exception, which are also known as checked exception. In Java, we have two types of exception. Remember this, checked and unchecked. Checked exceptions are the exceptions which are checked by your compiler and Java virtual machine when we compile the program or interpret the program. Unchecked exceptions are the exceptions which are triggered at the time of executing a program. Clear up to this? Checked and unchecked. किसको checked बोलते और किसको unchecked बोलते वो समझ में आया? If I try to use a variable like this, println function में if I write println x, मैंने x को declare ही नहीं किया है, तो क्या होगा? मैंने कहीं पे भी इंटीजर x इक्वल टू 10 या इंटीजर x ऐसा कुछ नहीं लिखा है, सीधा x यूज किया, कहीं कहीं डिक्लेयर ही नहीं किया है वेरिएबल को, तो क्या होगा?
वेरिएबल नॉट फाउंड ऐसे एरर देगा।
Variable not found. So that is also a error, but a compile time error. So in Java, to manage some of the checked exceptions, see checked exception कभी भी आपको raise होते हुए दिखते नहीं है, because it's like it's being executed, it's been checked at the compile time. So this input output exception, class not found exception, no such method exception है, उस नाम की कोई method ही नहीं है, and I'm trying to use it. These are all your checked exceptions. These are the classes in Java, inbuilt classes in Java, and all these classes are in the package java.lang. All the exception classes are inside the java.lang. So in java.lang, there is a parent class which is exception. In that you have the subclasses like input output, class not found, SQL, no such method, and runtime exception. Runtime exception के अंदर भी ये सब classes है. Now these are the exceptions or runtime exceptions, means these exceptions are not checked at the time of compile time. ये कब trigger होते हैं? When you are running your program. So arithmetic exception, class cast exception, array index out of bound, null pointer, number format exception. These are all exceptions which are triggered at runtime. So in our Java programs, we can handle the runtime exceptions. कंपाइल टाइम हैंडल करने की कोई जरूरत ही नहीं होती ना, वो तो कंपाइल टाइम पे ही चेक कर लिए जाते हैं. बट वी कैन मैनेज, जो अपने आप एबनॉर्मली प्रोग्राम टर्मिनेट हो जाता है ना, जो अपने आप बंद हो जाता है, वो सब ना हो उसके लिए, एंड गिव यू एन एरर मैसेज. इंस्टेड ऑफ दैट, I want that it should be managed and the program should terminate normally. That is done or made possible using exception handling. आपको समझ में आया? checked exception, unchecked exceptions, compile time exception, runtime exception. checked means compile time, unchecked means runtime. Runtime माने अब array index out of bound. Let's try to do such program so you will understand it. Basically, in Java, you have a throwable package or class in which we have exception and error. In exception, we have runtime exception and other exceptions, which are your checked exceptions. In runtime also, we have multiple exception classes. Okay, we'll do that. I just wanted to show you the diagram. Now let's make one program where we try to access a array element which is out of bound. Okay, चलो एक प्रोग्राम बनाते हैं. Class test. Static void main string bugs. Now let's have an array, integer array equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now print system dot out dot print ln array of 2. What will be the output of this program?
3.
Fs test dot java. See, let's compile it and run it. cd desktop java c test dot java java test. I'm getting 3. So this is fine. Now suppose if I try to do this, then what will happen? Did it give me an error message at the time of compilation?
No.
No. What I have written, array of 20. Do I have 20 elements in my array?
No.
No. Right? I am not having 20 elements in my array, but still I am trying to use the 20th element. जबकि array में है ही नहीं, but syntactically it is correct. Is there any error in writing my code? No. So problem is in my logic. I'm trying to access a element in an array whose size is 5 and I'm trying to access a 20th element. That is a logical error. It's a runtime error. So let's see what it is doing. Can you see exception in a thread? There is a error. Which type of error it is? So it is even showing you that java.lang.array index out of bound exception. अब इतना सब पढ़ के डू यू रियली थिंक अ नॉर्मल यूजर विल कम टू नो व्हाट इट इज? पहली बार आपने अगर ये देखा हो तो आपको भी नहीं पता चलेगा व्हाट एक्चुअली इट इज ट्राइंग टू से यू. Now you know that there are some runtime exceptions which are managed by the runtime environment of Java. So you will come to know that, okay, this is an error message. This is a logical error of trying to access a index 20 which is out of bounds. Are you getting it? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
But this is abnormal termination of your program. We have not managed it. This is managed by the Java runtime environment. We have not managed this error. So your program, if I have written, sorry, if I have written some message over here, system.out.println, hello, it will not be executed. It will stop before it. See here, let's compile again. So it's not displaying hello. It will never reach there because an error has occurred before a statement where this error was there. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? But if I try to manage this error, this exception, then it will be able to reach over here. It will display hello. Let's see how to do that. So if we want to manage the exception, we need to import the package java.lang.star. Okay, because all your exceptions are inside the java.lang. Now, wherever we think that error might occur, that block or that statement should be inside the try block. Now we need to catch an exception. Suppose we know कि मैं array का use कर रही हूँ, then there are high chances that there error message, the error which can occur is array index. See, this is a class, so A capital, I capital, out, O capital, off, O capital, bounds, bounds, exception. E. This is a class. I'm creating an object of that class E, and I can display the message, or I can just display a message system dot out dot println error of array index. And suppose I have returned this statement after this. Try and catch. Hello. Okay. So even if my error will occur, still it will display hello. Hello. Let's see how. See here. Now it is not showing me this main java.lang and 20 or anything. It's just giving a proper message which I have given that array of array index. And even it is showing executing the program after your try and catch. Means once your exception is handled, suppose I have written here this world will not be displayed. but hello will be displayed. See here, world display हुआ. Is world displayed in my output?
No, ma'am.
No. Reason. This is the block where error might occur. Now, how your Java program manages this? So, Java is a compiled and interpreted language that you know. First, a compiler convert it to a byte code, and then interpreter execute each instructions, right? So, here it will declare an array. Here it will try to use a array index which is out of bound. You are trying to use an index which is not present. So an error will occur in the statement. Once error occur, it will directly move to the consecutive catch block. If you have handled this error, it will catch it and will display the proper message and move on with the next statement. But if so, now it will not return back to the statements which are present in the try block. एक बार आप ट्राई ब्लॉक में से निकल जाते हो वो वापस ट्राई में कभी नहीं जाएगा, but it will move on with the next statements which are after the catch block. So this is not abnormally being terminated. If we don't manage the catch, suppose here I manage a index exception of number format. Okay. Suppose we manage this exception. Number format means in integer I try to give the string. That is your number format exception. But the error which is going to occur is of array index and I have not managed that. Then what it will do? And it will give you the system error, which is given by your Java runtime environment. And it will not even display hello. Because this is your abnormal program termination. एरर आपने मैनेज नहीं किया तो जावा ने आपके लिए मैनेज किया, फिर वो आपके आगे का प्रोग्राम कुछ भी एग्जीक्यूट नहीं करेगा. इट विल कम आउट ऑफ दैट प्रोग्राम. Okay, but if we don't want this abnormal termination of a program, then what we can do is we will manage the exception using the exception handling. To use the exception handling, we will put the code in which there are chances of error occurring in a try block and we can have multiple catch blocks. इसके अंदर नंबर फॉर्मेट का भी एरर ऐसा आ सके ऐसा और साथ में एरे इंडेक्स का भी आ सके ऐसे, देन वी कैन हैव टू कैच फॉर वन ट्राई. So one try can have multiple catch. Now suppose instead of this array index, suppose we have integer I equal to ABC. Let's see what it's doing. So the compile time पे भी दे सकते हैं. Give you at compile time. Wait a minute. what is this that I will teach you? This integer class is a wrapper class. I am going to teach you the wrapper classes. So right now, don't worry about it. Right now, you pay attention on your exception. Now see here, it gave you error of number format. We are trying to convert string to integer, which is not allowed. Syntactically, this is correct. Because this function, it is work is to convert string to integer. So, but here you should be having some 1, 2, 3 means numerical value. Instead of that, we have given characters. So this is a error of number format, that we are trying to give characters string to a integer. So you can manage multiple types of errors using multiple catch statement. Now, sometimes it might happen we don't know exactly which type of error is going to occur. So if we don't know that, we can have a parent class. We can use directly a parent class of exception, that there can be any type of error. It can be number format also. It can be a array index out of bound. All will be managed in this. See, error and hello. This is for number format. Now, instead of number format, if we are going for your array index, then also it will give you an error. Again, an error. But both errors are for different purpose. Now, clear up to this, try, catch, exception class is a parent class of all the runtime exceptions. Either it is number format, either it is array index out of bound, all the exception parent class is exception. So exception can manage all type of exceptions. Clear everyone up to this? Yes or no?
Yes.
So clear with the checked exception, unchecked exceptions.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So let's end here today. We'll do examples of exceptions tomorrow. Okay? Fine. किसी को कुछ पूछना है? No? Okay, then let's end.